Hi guys, today we're going to go through IXL assignment MRG, area of compound figures with triangles. So before we hop into IXL, let's find and review the formulas for an area of a square and a rectangle, and then the area of a triangle. So remember that when we're dealing with rectangles and squares, we can use the same formula for area. And that is area is equal to length times width. So if we look right here, we need to identify our length and our width. Thankfully, even though there is an official way to identify them, if we happen to get them mixed up, since we're just simply multiplying, that's a-okay, and it won't mess up any of your calculations. But here we have our longer side of 25 centimeters, that would be our length. And then our shorter side of 21 centimeters would be our width. And our formula to find the area, so the space that occupies the inside of this rectangle, is length times width. So let's substitute our values in. We have a length L of 25 centimeters times our width of 21 centimeters. Now we just need to finish this off by multiplying. So 25 times 21 gives us an area of 525 centimeters squared. So that's how you find the area of a square or a rectangle. Now let's review how to find the area of a triangle. If we look at our example problem up in the top right corner, we have our formula. The formula for the area of a triangle is 1/2 times base times height. So very similar to that of a square or rectangle, we just have to multiply by 1/2 because two triangles can be fit together, two identical triangles can be fit together to create a rectangle. So that's why our formula is the same, only we have to cut it in half. We have to multiply by 1/2. So we have lots of different information here. We want to make sure that we don't use the wrong numbers, so be sure to label it. All right. We have a base, that would be the bottom of our triangle here, of 6 feet. And then we also need to know the height. That height, as we can see here, is often drawn through the triangle because it's showing us from the base all the way to that top part of the triangle how tall it is, what its height is, which is 4. And in this case, our 7 feet is additional information. It is not needed for us to find our area. So the formula is area is equal to 1/2 base times height. Let's substitute our values in. Area is equal to 1/2 times our base of 6 feet times our height of 4 feet. All right, now we need to multiply to get our answer. There's a couple different ways that you can deal with multiplying by 1/2. You can either just keep it as is, multiply by that fraction. If you are given permission to use a calculator and you wanted to convert that to a decimal, you could, which the decimal version of 1/2, of course, would be 0 5/10. Or another option, and it's, the one that I do, and it's what some of you guys may, unintentionally do in your head, when you're multiplying something by 1/2, when you're taking 1/2 of something, that's also known as dividing by 2. So you can multiply by 1/2, but an easier way to think of it is to divide by 2. So first off, let's do, oops, I forgot my equal sign. Let's do 6 times 4, which is 24. And again, you can just multiply that by 1/2, but that's otherwise known as dividing by 2. So what is 24 divided by 2? What is 1/2 of 24? That would be 12. The area of this triangle is 12 squared feet. All right, awesome. Now that we have reviewed each of those shapes individually, let's hop on over to IXL so we can see what it looks like when they're compounded, when they are combined together. All right, here we are on RMG. Before we get started, I do just want to put in a quick little reminder that IXL has some great updates and has some great resources for you. There is an example. So right here, let me get my spotlight on right here. You can click on this and it will give you a breakdown step by step with an example on how to solve this problem. I know sometimes seeing it done, having a video helps. So right next to it, you can click on this button and you can watch a tutorial that IXL has made. And they're usually pretty short, honestly shorter than my videos. So it's kind of nice because it's good and concise and just gives you that highlight. And then last little cool update is down at the bottom here, there is a pencil tool that you can select and you now have the ability to write and highlight on your IXL screen. So in this example, in this particular problem that we're going to be doing together today, it will be very beneficial for you to use that. All right, now that I gave my little plug there, let's get started. So we are working on MRG, area of compound figures with triangles. So when we have a compound figure, we have a shape here that is compounded. It is combined, made with a bunch of individual shapes all meshed together. And we have rectangles, squares, and triangles all combined. So the first thing we need to do is we need to break down this puzzle. We need to add some lines to this so we can visually separate out and see the different shapes that we have. First one that I notice right here is I see a little point jutting out at the bottom. That's going to be a triangle. I probably should just make this a solid line. That'll be less clicking and less annoying for you guys, right? Yeah. Okay, so right here we have a shape of a triangle. Cool. Now up above, I got another little part that kind of jets off to the side here, right here. So let's bring a line down. I'll change up my color and we can see that that creates what looks like it could be a square and then definitely a rectangle. So we have three different shapes that are being compounded, that are being combined to make this one figure. And we want to find the area of this total figure. What we need to do is find the area of each piece and then combine, add that all together. Let's go ahead and just start with the first one that we made, is that triangle. The key thing is after you draw that line, after you separate out and find all of your hidden shapes, you need to look very closely to make sure you use the right numbers, okay? All right, for our area of a triangle, we know that we need our base and our height. So I can see here that I have a height of 3 kilometers, but my base is something I drew. I don't know what that base is. So I got to figure it out. Well, I see here that this entire length is 9 kilometers. But this little piece is 3 kilometers. So if the whole way across is 9 kilometers, and then this little piece that's not a part of my triangle is 3 kilometers, what would be the leftover section? It would be 6, because the whole thing is 9. We take out that little chunk that's 3. 9 minus 3 is 6, meaning we have a base of 6. Let's plug that in and find the area of that triangle. Area is equal to 1/2, base of 6, height of 3. All right, 6 times 3 is what? 18. And then we need to multiply that by 1/2. 1/2 of 18 is 9. So the area of this is 9. All right, one shape down, 2 more to go. Let's switch it up. Let's look at the blue one here. The nice thing is we look at this little rectangle, all of our side lengths are measured for us. That makes it a little bit more easy peasy. For area of a rectangle, remember it is length times width. We have a length of 5 kilometers and a width of 2. Area is equal to 5 times 2, which would be 10. All right, and last but not least, we have our large, what looks to be a square, but I need to look at the side length to see if it really is a square. Let me outline it in green so you guys can focus in on it. Sorry, I don't have very straight lines here. All right, all the way across, which is what this is 9 kilometers, and then up and down is 9 kilometers. So it did happen to be a square. Awesome. Area is equal to length times width. Area is equal to 9 times 9, which is 81. All right, all fine and dandy. Those are all of my individual areas, but if we want the total area of this entire shape all pieced together, what do you think we need to do to get our final answer? We need to add. We need to add up all 3 of our areas. So 81 plus 9, oops, plus 10. Add all 3 of those up. 81 plus 9 plus 10 gives us a total area of 100 square kilometers. All right, we'll go ahead and do one more example together so we can see another one, because all of the different compounded shapes you get will look a little bit different, but don't be afraid, they will all be of this format where it's a combination of triangles, rectangles, and squares. All right, here's our next one. So first step, remember guys, is we need to draw our lines. We need to separate out these shapes and see what we all have. All right, if I draw a line right here, that gives me a triangle. And then with this one, we have 2 different options. We either could split it this way, and we make a square down here and a rectangle up here, or we could split it this way and make a teeny tiny rectangle and then a larger one. It doesn't matter, honestly. As long as you use the correct numbers, you will get the same answer either way. All right. We'll go ahead, we'll just leave it like this since that's what I currently have. All right, let's start with our triangle again, just for the sake of it. 1/2 base times height. Let's see what information is obviously given and what we might have to piece together. All right, here we have the base, we have the bottom of our triangle, and it's 8 centimeters, but we don't have that height right here. But if I look on over to the right, I can see, ooh, this matches up. That is the exact same height, and it says it's 3 centimeters. So we have a height right there of 3 centimeters because all of that lines up, so we can see that it is the same. 1/2 times a base of 8 and a height of 3. 8 times 3 is 24. 1/2 of 24 is 12. We have an area of 12 for our rectangle. I mean, it's not our rectangle, our triangle. An area of 12 for our triangle. Now let's move on to our rectangles. Let's just kind of go left to right here. So let's do this center one. All right, with this center one, let's see what information we're currently given. Well, I can pretty easily see that the bottom of it is 5 centimeters. Think to yourself for a second, why is it 5 centimeters and not 7? Because I can see a 5 at the bottom, a 7 at the top. Well, it's because that 7 stretches all the way across. But if we're just focused on that middle portion, we can see that it really is just 5 centimeters. Well, now we need the height. Does it straight up tell us the height anywhere? Because I see a height of 5 centimeters, but notice that that ends right here. And we need to go all the way up. Hopefully you're thinking to yourself and you've noticed that, okay, down here is 5 centimeters, up here is 3, so we can add that together to get the total height of this rectangle. So 5 plus 3 would be 8, giving us a total height of 8 for that middle blue rectangle. Now that we know our side lengths, we can find our area. The length times width would be 8. Oops, I'm struggling with my writing today, guys. Sorry. It would be 8 times 5, which is 40. So the area of that large rectangle in the center is 40. Almost done. We got one shape left. Let's outline it in green here. We need to find the area of that rectangle. This one, our measurements are nice and clear for us. We can see the one side is 2 centimeters, the other is 3. So 2 times 3, which would be 6. All right, hard part is done, or in my opinion, I think it's the fun part. I love this is like a puzzle. It's kind of reminds me of some of those logic puzzles where you got to piece different things together to see what side lengths are and what measurements work. Now that we know the area of all 3 of our separate shapes, they're compounded together, they're combined together. Let's add them all up. So 40 plus 12 plus 6 gives us an area of 58. So our answer is an area of 58 square centimeters. All right, guys, that is going to close us off. I hope that this was helpful to you. Remember, if you want some extra examples, you can always come up here, watch that IXL tutorial. And then, of course, if you type in the name of this IXL assignment, I am sure that there are other videos out there from other teachers about finding area of compound figures. And sometimes all we need is just a different voice, or maybe even just to see more examples. All right, guys, have an awesome rest of your day and send an email if you need anything. Bye.